for that. All right. You have to have that recorded so that you're able to follow that. This is the second statement. And then, so this is sequence: statement 1, statement 2, statement 3. They can all follow each other. You can use if, you can use now the while, maybe x is less than 10. So you're able to continue. This is what you call sequence, one statement after the other. However, when you mention about iteration, then we're interested on these statements that make use of this iteration, like the while statement and the for loop. I think I mentioned about the for loop. Which one was there? I think I mentioned about the while, the for loop, and another one was what? If. So let me just look at them here as one. The while, because you're going to do the iteration, which means to repeat something you want to be repeated again and again and again and again. That's why in one of the exercises we said you can repeat writing 10 times on that. Then number 2, we talked about the for loop, which also when you have got a definite number of the definite, say definite number of turns, for example, definite number of loops. Yeah, not turns. We're talking about that. We're talking about things that is going to call do while, which is as the looping. Do while, the former till. Those which repeat until. That is what do while. That's what you use as do while these days. All these are iterations. If you use this, if there's something you want to repeat. Then we talk about today, our interest is on selection. That's what I'm just mentioning, that you want, as your program moves, to make a decision. For example, you want your program when it has reached to decide if the age of a person is above 18, then he qualifies to get a driving license. Otherwise, he doesn't. So in that case, now you have to employ the selection loops and like. This control structure for selection is very easy to employ. You just need to know how to make use of it, because it goes like, for example, if, put a condition, then open the curly bracket, then curly bracket. So just like anything else, if the condition, then curly brackets to run whatever you want. But if you, so anything that is in this will be executed, otherwise it jumps and proceeds. So for example, we are doing hello, and then second statement, third statement to say if is less than 12, for example, calibrate or sorry, open and close. You can say see out. You can see out and say good morning. Yeah, that is morning. Good morning. Yep, we've already said that. So meaning your system can start running statement 1, displays on the screen, hello world. Your system displays the second message, the second statement. But as soon as it reaches here, it doesn't require to display good morning, but it checks. There's a condition that must be met. What is the current time of the system? It checks. Maybe it's 11. If it's 2, if it's 11, good morning. But if it checks the time and it finds the time is 12 or it's 13, then it says good afternoon. It doesn't say anything and proceeds. See out. Something like that. So we call it selection because it diverts your numbers. It can only go in when some conditions are met. Otherwise, it can skip this. Do you understand? Do you understand, all of you? Are you following? Okay, I believe so. So you must understand the sequence, which you said is a normal flow. You must understand the iteration, which is the repeat. And you said you can use the while, you can use the for loop, you can use the do while, and then you can use the selection, which is used to change the flow of your program. So the program can go to direction A, direction B. Because just check. So I want to see an example here. For sequence, I think I've already mentioned. For iteration, I already mentioned an example. I already gave you, I said for iteration, we use a while loop. Example. I think I say something. Yeah. For example, if you're counting and say while, an example, maybe while condition, then you open the curly bracket, and then close. So, but remember, I would wish to the next page like this, the next line. So while, just put everything here. So while if x equals to 4, or x is less than 10, or is less than 5. So if you're counting 1 to 10, probably can say num equals to 0. It means that's the starting point. But then that num, you have to specify it as being an integer in or whatever. Like, so when it is 0, then as you start while condition, now this can be, you could look at that number. But that num is less than 10, then what do you want to do? Maybe see out that number. You cannot see out it. You can see out the number, meaning print that number. Sorry. See out that number. Yeah, like that. See out that number. You just end the line, and then something very important, we call it num plus plus, which we said we want to increase, we want to do an increment. So num plus 1. This num plus plus is the same as writing num equals to num plus 1. Yeah, it's just write num plus plus, and then you run. So what happens is the system starts by sequencing. It encounters this first value, num equals to 0. Then while num is less than 10, then print the num. It increases by 1. It goes back again. It is not 10, so it goes back again. Is it 10? No. Print again the number, which is 2 now, because it was incremented by 1. So it starts by writing, probably you expect 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 up to 9. But if you want to print 1 to 9, then you have to change this to 1. So the counting starts. But then the stopping point has to be less than or equal to 10. Do you understand? Who is that? James, can you hear me? James, are you following? James, are you following? James? You can unmute your mic for you to speak. I don't know whether James is. Yeah, you need to unmute for you to speak. Grace?
Yes.
All right. Desmond, are you there? you need to understand, but some people just put up their phone on and then you go to your work and go back. So it's important for me to hear you respond to the class. Very important. I think I'd said I give an example. So for loop, for those who didn't get it, we can use for example. Let's use the same num. So num is an integer, so int num equals to 1, same like the above. Then 1 to be less than or equal to 10, and then num plus plus. Then close. So everything that you put inside here will run from now when num is 1 all the way when num is less than or equal to 10. So this is the range. Num is 1 to 10. Then this is an increment. So every time it runs. So if you type here, for example, I use a C out for displaying and say hello, what will happen? You can tell me what happens with this kind of script I've shared. What will be the result of this? Whatever I've highlighted. Desmond? Desmond, what will be the result on the screen if you do that? This you have to answer before you proceed. I need to know whether you're following. I'm not going to proceed until you answer that. Anyone can answer that? You unmute your microphone and then you share. Hey, somebody's to. Okay, there's Desmond. Okay, Collins, what will be the result of that? What happens if I write this? For int num equals to 1. Sorry about that. Collins, what will happen? Is Collins here with us really? Where is there? Brian, what's happening? Collins, I can't hear you. What will happen? Unmute your mic and share. Should be able to hear you. Brian, I can't hear you. Collins, Grace, what will this do if I run this? What will be the result? And explain why. Why do you think that will be the output?
It will print hello 10 times.
It prints hello 10 times, all right? That is who? Who is that who spoke?
Felix.
Felix, okay. Felix thinks that this will print 10 times. Who has a different opinion? According to Felix, if we do this, it will print hello 10 times. Who has a different opinion? What about you? What do you think will happen? I'm in class. Thank you. What will happen? I want to hear another opinion. That is from Felix. I want to hear what happens. Is that James? James, you're not in. Your device is not connected. Desmond, can't hear you. Where is that? Brian, we can't hear you. Want to have his opinion. Felix says it will print 10 times. Hello. What about the others? Do you have the
Error.
Who is that?
It will print an error.
It prints an error. Who is that?
Brian.
Who is that?
Brian.
Brian. Okay. Brian says that this will print an error. Right? Well, you give a reason why. Any other? Let me finish. Let me take up 3 feedbacks. Felix says it will print hello 10 times. Brian says it will print an error. What about you? I need to hear from Desmond. Desmond. I can't hear you. Desmond and Grace. I'm waiting for your feedback.
Okay, I think it's an error.
Desmond, what do you think it will print?
I think it's an error given that both mean the same thing. So it's like you're just repeating yourself.
So printing an error. Okay, that's what you think. Okay. Now, so you have got 3 feedbacks here. Felix says it may print hello 10 times. Brian says it will print an error, and Desmond says it will print an error. Desmond says it will print an error because it's repeating the same thing. Brian says it will print an error. Why? Give a reason why?
You didn't close the bracket.
Okay, no closing bracket. Okay. Felix thinks it will print 10 times. Reason?
I'm not sure.
You're not sure. All right. Not sure why it will do that. All right. So I want us to do this. I'll carry this as it is, just the way it is, and then take it to an IDE. Remember earlier on I showed you how to use an IDE, a simple one. I'm sure this will work out. Let me see. Yeah, online ide.com. And then I change I hope you can see my screen. Can you? I've changed the window. Can you see my screen? Confirm you can see my screen?
Yes.
All right. You can see I'm continuing. So I've just pasted the work I have. So if I try to run it, I've not changed anything basically. If I try to run it, look at what happens on the right hand side. There's an error. There's an error. It means from the feedback you gave, Desmond and Brian are correct. However, the reason that Desmond gave for it bring an error is probably not the reason, right? So what do you think is the reason? The proper reason why it's not? I think Brian said not closing the bracket. So I think that is what you mentioned, if I'm not wrong. So where should the bracket be, Brian? Right here? Is that okay?
After plus plus.
After plus plus. The bracket. So, and then you run that. Yep. Good. So Brian was right. I think that was, let me just confirm. Right. As soon as you put the bracket, now it has written hello, 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 hello. Show that it's not able to write 10 times as expected. Now, why do you think all the hellos have been put in one line? Why, and what do we need, what modification do we need to do to our code to make sure that each of them happens on the next line? Okay. The runner has told us we've corrected, we've already received that's correct 10 times, and now it answers what Felix had said 10 times. So there was just a small miss that you needed to know that there is a bracket. For loop, you have to close. This closing is very important before you can open the curly bracket and start putting all your details. And we've done that. We've done the correction, which is very good. Thank you so much. And I'm sure the rest also. Felix is also correct because 10 times has been printed. It just required you to remember that there's a bracket. Every time you open, you have to close that. All right. I'm asking the next question. Why do we have this on one line? What if we want hello, hello to be on the next line after the other? What do we need to change or to modify in our script? Or who can explain why? Why do we have it in one line instead of each line on its own? Yes? You unmute, and then you give a suggestion, or you say what you think is a reason. Desmond, Brian, what do you think should happen to make sure that this? Yes. So I'm back. I had asked for modification we need to do on our code, or who can explain why, first of all, we have all this in one line. Yes?
Because the cursor does not move to the next line while printing hello.
The cursor does not move. Okay. I've seen it. Let me show you.
Hey, nimeitafuta.
Let me show it to you. Okay. Thank you. Sorry for that brief interference. I think the VC had passed by, and therefore we had to get him to finish with us, and he's gone. So we can proceed because of that. Someone was explaining something before we had that break interruption. Yeah, who was that explaining? Who was that?
Yeah, so I was saying that the cursor does not move to the next line while printing hello. Yes.
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. Actually, the explanation is that the cursor has not been pushed to the next line, which is true. That's very correct. So that's why you have it on the same line. That's why you have it right there. Like it's not. It has not moved to the next line. So what do we do to move it to the next line? It has not. So what happens is that the cursor remains here. As soon as it prints hello, it remains on that same line. If you're using other languages like Pascal, you'll find things like print is different from the word print line. So the moment you write print, the cursor will display but remain the same. But when you write print ln, it goes to the next line after it has printed, which is similar to this. So when using C++, what should we do to move the cursor to the next line? What modification therefore should we do so that we don't leave the cursor in the same line after I just printed the first one? What modification can we do? Anybody? Any modification you can think about? Yes. I think we already did one example of that. So I'm asking anybody, what else can we do? What can we do? Yes, anything? Anybody? Gentlemen. So the quickest one you can just adopt is just use the end of line statement. Different languages implement new lines differently. And for C++, you have to introduce this command called end line. Just like that, end line. End line. So as soon as you introduce the end line command like that, it will definitely end line, but don't forget to introduce this double quotes and then you run it. So you'll get your result on that. Great. So you can proceed with our, now we can break it into the next lines. Note that statement, end line, end L. That is the point. You understand now, students? All right. So we go back to our objective. So we now know when to use the if, we know when to use while. I think the next one was to use the do while. Now somebody may ask you, what's the difference between the while and the do while? Why do you think they're different? Do while. What's the difference between while and do while? I think I should write that somewhere here because this is a very possible question. Difference between while and do while. We put it in quotes for it to be visible. What do you think is the difference? If you find that in your exam, how do you answer it? So for us to make it maybe understandable, I'll maybe copy this. Let me try to use this. I'll use this example here. Let me copy this while and copy it down here. I want to modify it to work with the do while. Exactly. Now, if I say what? If I say do, what we start with the do, yes. We can say do this. What do you want to do? Do this while, let's say do, I think the best is do statements and then while comes at the bottom. Yeah, we say do 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it's supposed to do a number of things, then we can add the while. So therefore we say do what is going to be done. I need to take on this. So do see out, and then we increase the number plus plus. We can now say maybe while num is less than or equal to, like that. Yeah. So you start with do, and then you write what will happen, all the statements that are going to be done. So it's going to do num. It's going to display num, breaking the line. This is what we said, end line. Then we also increment by 1, num equals num plus 1, while this. So what is the difference? And you look at this statement, the way it is. We start from here. Int, consider with this. While num is less than 10, open the brackets. Look at the difference. The two of them are doing the same thing, but the difference is how they run. So if you come across this, this is how I want you to answer it. If you use while, it simply means that before any check, the while must run at least once before you make that. If a person had written, if the condition is false on the first execution, then nothing is executed. An example is, let's say you're withdrawing money, you are writing a script to withdraw money from an ATM, and then you use before the cash, it must check to know whether the money is there. Balance. If the balance is above 400, then withdraw 400. If you use the do while, on the other hand, it runs the statement at least once before checking the condition. So this has to run at least once. So assuming you're running on the same code, it means withdraw 400. The system will withdraw the 400 first, then it will check the balance, how much it is. While. Do you get the difference? I don't know whether you're getting the difference. Brian, have you got the difference?
Yes.
Yeah, great. Who has not gotten the difference? Good. So silence means you've got it all. So if you find that in an exam asking you, make that difference. While, it means the condition is checked first. But when you use do while, it means the condition, the statements have to run at least once before checking the condition. That's the difference. That's the difference in terms of that. And you can give an example if you're asked to that. So the last part, which I wanted you to learn today, is the selection criteria, which said selection is used to change the direction of the flow of your program. So you can change direction to somewhere else. You can redirect your application to move to somewhere else. And we make use of about 2 of them, or 2 or 3 conditions for conditional statements. Among them, they include the if function. We also use what we call if else, and then we have one we call if or elif or else if, which can take as many conditions as possible, or what we call nested if. That's a quick. And lastly, something we call switch. Switch is called case in some environments when using a selection. I can write them here so that you can remember. I said you can use if, you can use if else, or if then, which is basically supposed to be maybe go to the chamber else, which means you've got 2 conditions. This is the first one, this is the second. These are two pathways. The third one is called nested. Your nesting means you are actually going inside. You can make many ifs and the like. So several conditions is an example of that. So we call it nested if. Then number 4, you can use the switch statement. So all these are meant to change a selection. So your program can choose to run some code, skip some code, check if some condition is true before you continue. Like all these are all statements. So the if else is when you have more than one. So let's look at a quick simple example that I want us to make use of. Let's look at the if, maybe the fastest. I mentioned about driving, and I said, suppose you want your system to check. Create that checks age and displays get driving license if age is above 18 and driving license if age is below, if age is 18 and above. These things are very sensitive. If I say above 18, another one says 18 and above, these are 2 different things. You know the difference? If you don't know the difference, you can ask. Can you ask? If I say get a driving license if age is 18 and above, another one says if age is above 18, you get the difference between the 2? Anyone who doesn't get the difference or gets confused, want to do some clarification? Nobody. So it means you understand it. So no driving license. So if age is below 18, this is work. And for your classwork, this can even cost you up to around 10 marks. If you misinterpret this, you can lose 10 marks. So it's good to understand that. So what you can do is just to say if, then look at the variable that is carrying the age, which probably could be age, is greater than or equal to 18. And then you can use the cout. Let's say get driving license. Right. So this is very straightforward. This is one. So it only moves your application separate. Otherwise, it just continues. But if you change it further, this is an if. If we take it to the, actually what I should do even is to carry this and put it inside if. Yes. What if it is if else? Then the same thing, we can copy the same text for if age is greater than 18, then get a driving license. We close. We can add the else here. Else, open the curly bracket again, close the curly bracket. So write the second statement here. Else, see out. What was the condition? What was to be told? No driving license. If you don't qualify, it says no driving license. Semicolon has to end on this. So notice the difference. This one only says if you use this, it means you only have, you just want to check. If it's not qualified, don't care what it displays, and it's like it skips that. So nothing is displayed. Like now, what happens if you come to the nested if? The nested if works exactly the same, only that now you have to. In fact, let me use the same so that you can see how easy it is. Let's check on different ages. If you're above 70, too old to drive. Above 60, maximum speed of driving is maybe 60 kilometers per hour. If you're above 40, you can drive around, let's say, 100 kilometers per hour. Above 18, you can drive at 120 kilometers per hour. Below 18, no driving. So those are many conditions. It's not one. Then we have to use, that's a good example. Another one you can use is maybe max, because I think most of you have been through school where you're told if you get above 80 is an A, above 60 is a B, get above 50 is a C, and then below 40 is a D. That's another example you can make use of. So what you need to do is this: start with the if, write the condition, but remember you have to have declare first and say age. Maybe it's an integer. Age equals to, let's say, 34. So you have to capture that variable somewhere. Then as you use it within the system, you can say if age is greater than 18, is greater than 70, what do we say the message should be? Above 70, maximum speed is 60 kilometers per hour. Now, as soon as you start the else, you must add the if. So it becomes else if, then you write the second condition. Age is greater or equal to maybe 50. Sorry, we said 40. Then you open another curly bracket. Now you can write C out and say you can drive at speed of allowed to drive. Maximum speed is 100 kilometers per hour. Notice here you just say else if, write again another condition. Age is greater than or equal to, let's say 18. Open the curly bracket. See out. You can say maximum speed is 120 kilometers per hour. Okay. Now, we can have an else, or we can write the speed, because the else is that if you don't fit on all this. So we can close that and then say else, see out, and then say maybe you can't drive, something like that. The semicolon is what we said to finish with, and then curly bracket. So this is the same. So here it has got so many options, alternatives, what a person can get as a result. You can be told to continue, you cannot, you can, you cannot. That's the difference. But you have to start by inputting the age. For example, see in, enter your age, so that it can start working based on that. Is anyone lost? Anyone lost? Any question? Okay, so if there's none, I'm going to just use this example as the last one. Probably this for the, oh, I think I would have shared with the switch statement also, because we may not come back to that. We may not really mention that, but switch is much easier. It's very easy to make use of. You just have to not, assuming you're using the same thing, let's do the same thing that up there. You can say age, int age equals to, maybe say 41, 42. Then within your code, you can now say switch, open the brackets, age. You can say switch, then you write age, then open the curly bracket to do the rest of the commands. You say case, let's say 80, no, case 70, put a full colony, write what you want to say. C out, case 70, C out. We said what? Maximum speed is 60 kilometers per hour. Then a semicolon. Then you can always, you have to use what you call the word break, so that you can, it stops there at that time in case that happens. But you can go to case 2. Case maybe somebody has what? The second one we said was what? After 60 years, 70, the next one was 40 years. Yeah, at 40, then C out. You can write maximum speed is 100 kilometers per hour. Okay, then you have to break still. Repeat the same with the probably default and the like. So you can write all the cases. Case, what if it is 18? We said C out. Maximum speed is 120 kilometers per hour. Break. When you finish, you can say default, which is if none of those options are found, then you can see out and say, oh, I said you can drive. No, you can't drive. So you can say you can't drive and plus. Simple like that. So case statement and the same choices to be selected from. So I had said I wanted us to pick one case scenario like this. I think age, and then you can try that. You can try to do the age. Let's say go back to the code and then we write the same. We're not changing. Interested about the main part. So I paste it here. Okay, there it is. Yeah, I think I like pushing it like that to see your coding very well. It's called formatting. So, but then we have to start probably with the reading the age. So C in, no, C out, enter your age, something like that. And you can say C in age. But we should have declared here that is an int age, maybe it should be 0 for now. So we declare it and then you use this. All right. So I've not checked on errors on that, but you should be able to run. If it fails, you know it should be your work. So you should go and check on that. And this becomes your assignment. Sawa. Is that okay, students? So I'm sharing the whole of this as a file. I think so. We call it control structures. Okay. I'll share it in the chat. If that should be okay with you. Is that easier? Yes. Let me just paste it here. Shared notes, maybe. Could be easier. Yep. Yes, you can copy that. I think that is easier. So I'll paste it there. You can copy that. So each of you copy that, and you can always be checking on that after we finish. Let's control structures. Any question? Any question? So remember the assignment is this, and so this one. That becomes your assignment, and I've put it on the port as the second, as the fourth assignment 3. Please do your work. Your marks are coming from that. We are not going to do any other. It is the small milestones that determine whether you are achieving something or not. Yeah, it's already on the portal. I've called it assignment 4. Their age and I'll highlight it like this, italize it. Maybe you can able to see it properly. So I've already done it up, and I think I'll give you up to 22nd of July. That's a lot of time. Should have finished by that. I want it done both online and touched. Good. If there's no question, if there is no other question, we will end it there. Thank you. Have you copied? I hope all of you have copied the work. Wangari, have you managed to copy it?